In the beginning was the scream knot, the word, a howl buried beneath centuries of compromise, muffled by comfort, choked by peace. You heard it once in the stillness between two heartbeats, but you called it fear and turned your face away. That was your soul remembering its name. You are not tired. You are drowned, smothered beneath the lullabies of mediocrity. They told you life was about balance, about fitting in, about being liked, about staying safe. But the stars did not burn for safety. The gods did not bleed for comfort. And you, godless wanderer, were not born for balance. You were born for the brink. The world has mistaken anesthesia for serenity. And you have mistaken your golden cage for a throne. You sit obedient on the altar of convenience, while your lion heart rots in the basement of your being. Every yes you whispered to avoid conflict was another nail in your crucifixion. You did not sinew stagnated, and that is far worse. Wake, dream slave. The life you call yours is a sleepwalk through someone else's design. Your desires were farmed, your fears scripted, your virtues outsourced to men in suits and robes and algorithms. They handed you a script and called it identity. But somewhere, deep beneath the flesh costume of your persona, there is a will snarling in chains, a will that remembers fire. Not all who are alive live, not all who speak think, and not all who kneel are humble. Look around. The empire of hollow men grows fat on obedience. Their prayers are policies. Their prophets are brands. Their gods are algorithms fed by your attention. You do not need more mindfulness. You need a sword. A revolution is not born in the streets, it is born in the marrow. The first battle is against your comfort. The second, against your doubt. The third, against your God. But the final war, one they fear most, is the war against your own reflection. For in that mirror waits the phantom of your potential, staring back with eyes that ask, "Why have you forsaken me?" You are not too late. You are too early for your excuses. Let this not be a monologue, but a possession. Let these words enter you like a storm enters a valley without apology. What if your suffering was not punishment, but prophecy? What if your ache is not something to numb, but something to heed? The pain is the prod of your buried titan, restless beneath layers of lies. Your anxiety is your unlived life, pacing the corridors of your skull. To master the self is not to tame it, it is to liberate it. The beast is not your enemy, it is your exiled king. You were not meant to outgrow your darkness, but to ride it like a stallion into the heart of the world. Mediocrity will tell you to be balanced. I tell you to be whole. And wholeness is wild. It is contradiction. It is sacred rage wrapped in sacred laughter. They told you to manifest. I tell you to erupt. Do not ask the sky, for signs the sky is watching you. Be the omen. Be the bad news that breaks the wheel. Become unbearable to the life that once tolerated you. Leave behind the prayers of the lukewarm and the apologies of the half-awake. Burn your comfort zone and let the ashes spell out your new name. The first time you betray your false self, it will feel like death. Let it. For the ego is a tyrant in a velvet robe, and every comfort it offers is a leash. When you die to who you thought you were, you are born into who you could be. And Hehe is not liked. He is not invited. He is not tame. He is the storm at the gate. He is the answer that ends the question. He is the fire that makes the phoenix possible. This world does not need more peacekeepers. It needs spiritual arsonists. So, tear down your altars. Unsheathe your soul. The sacred is not found in temples, it is found in moments of terrifying clarity, when you finally say no to the life that shrinks you. That moment is holy. That moment is War. You will be alone. Of course you will. The summit has no crowd. The Übermensch does not seek followership, births himself beyond them. You will be mocked, exiled, misunderstood. But you will no longer be bored. You will no longer sleepwalk. You will feel the world in your nerves. You will taste the divine in your defiance. And when you return, if you return, you will not speak in sermons. You will speak in thunder, for you will carry in your voice the memory of ascent, and in your eyes the death of fear. Let the herd have their harmony. You were born to howl. They will tell you to heal. But what is healing if the wound itself was holy? The gash in your spirit, the rupture, the jagged break is not a flaw. It is the doorway. Through it, the uncreated self bleeds into this world. Do not mend it. Magnify it. Let the wound widen until your false skin falls away and your real form is revealed. Raw, radiant, terrible. You were not born to be whole. You were born to be haunted. Haunted by the ghost of who you might have become had you not bowed, not begged, not waited. That ghost follows you. It watches as you scroll, as you nod, as you smile through clenched teeth, and it weeps not out of sorrow, but disgust. Every time you say, "I'm fine," you bury a god. The lie of this age is this, that the highest virtue is to be agreeable, that smoothness is goodness, that conflict is to be avoided, but the soul is serrated, truth is jagged, and the sacred enters only through rupture. The path to power is not found. In silence it is forged in screams. Who told you to be polite to your own decay? I say, be rude to your limits. Offend your shadow. Interrupt your weakness with a war cry. The universe is not gentle, it is generative. Stars are not born with lullabies. They are born through collapse. And you, spirit forged of collapsed heavens, must find your ferocity again. You sit beneath the tree of knowledge, but you have eaten only the fruit of consensus. Taste the fruit of revolt. Taste the forbidden, the idea that you are not meant to be equal. Not to your neighbor. Not to your past. You are meant to surpass. To overcome. To overflow. Let others seek peace. I dare you to seek intensity. Do you feel it yet? That pressure in your chest? That is not anxiety. That is the gravitational pull of your real self trying to surface. It is the weight of the unlived, crushing the lungs of the domesticated. You were taught to exhale. I tell you, inhale everything. Inhale the fire, the fury, the forgotten hungers. And when you are full burst, you are not meant to be managed. You are meant to be mythic. There is a place beyond affirmation and self-help, beyond ideology and tribe, beyond therapy and theology, a place where the soul no longer seeks permission. In that place there is no map, no guide, only your footsteps carving mountains into existence. That place is yours to claim, but you must become unrecognizable to get there. Are you ready to lose your name? Because your name was given to you by the same hands that shackled your will. Your name was a script, your smile rehearsed, your dreams imported. Burn it all. Become illegible to your past. Let them say, "He has changed." Let them tremble. That is your baptism. Not by water, but by chaos. The abyss does not stare back. It waits. And most men wait too long to meet it. They flirt with their depths, but never dive. They die with dry feet. But you, if you are still listening, are already on the edge. I see it. The madness in your eye. The break in your rhythm. The hunger you no longer know how to name. That is the beginning. Do not step. Leap. And if you fall, fall like a god. Fall laughing. Fall roaring. For the ground does not kill the one who falls into his own becoming. It receives him. The fall is not the end. It is the shedding. the unmaking of the mannequin, the resurrection of the primordial. You must be undone before you can become. Who are you without your chains? You do not know yet, but the old self is already burning. You can smell it. The smoldering of limitation, the smoke of yesterday's self-sacrifice. Let it burn. Let the ashes paint your new sigil. You were never meant to be saved. You were meant to rise, not like an angel, like a volcano. And now the hour comes when masks melt, when the painted face of civility runs in rivers down the cheek of modern man, revealing beneath it not horror, but hollowness. Look, the citizens of this age march like clockwork priests, worshipping progress with empty hearts and synthetic faith. Their eyes gleam with algorithms. Their laughter is filtered. Their God's dead. And they do not mourn. They've traded their passions for productivity, their arrows for efficiency, their fire for feedback loops. These are the new slaves, not whipped, but wired, not shackled, but sedated. Each one, a node in a vast machine of mediocrity, humming obediently, producing nothing but noise. And the machine demands only one sacrifice: your becoming. But you who have dared to awaken, you feel it now, don't you? That itch beneath the skin, that ancient war drum in your blood. You are beginning to suspect that this life they sold you is not life, but a clever imitation of it. That your job, your status, your curated self-image all of itis, scaffolding around a prison. And the prisoner? A god disguised as a man. You are not here to comply. You are here to collide. Collide with the dogmas of your culture. Collide with the inheritance of your father's fears. Collide with your own reflection until it shatters and the true face behind it stares, back bloody, unblinking, free. There will be no applause for this, no celebration, only silence and the sound of your chains hitting the floor. And in that silence, you will meet the real enemy. Not society, not the system, not even death. No, the real enemy is the part of you that agreed to stay small, the part that made peace with mediocrity, the part that knelt before the altar of normal. That part must be crucified, publicly, without mercy. For every ounce of comfort it granted you came at the cost of your divinity. Do not be kind to your inner coward. Exile him. He will plead. He will speak of caution, of timing, of reason. He will wear the voice of your mother, your teachers, your old friends. Do not listen. That is not love. That is the lullaby of the herd. That is the voice that keeps lions in cages and angels in uniforms. Rip it from your skull like a weed. You must learn to become ruthless with your own potential. Not cruel ruthless. There is a difference. Cruelty inflicts pain to dominate. Ruthlessness accepts pain to transcend. To be ruthless is to choose the storm over the shelter. To walk into the fire willingly, knowing it is the only force strong enough to burn away what is not you. And from those flames, yes, from those flames the architect of your next self emerges, the one you have glimpsed only in dreams, the one who speaks in riddles and symbols, the one who grins when the world turns gray and whispers, "Now it begins." He does not chase happiness. He hunts meaning. And meaning is forged, not found. Forged in the heat of refusal. Forged in the echo of slammed doors and burned bridges. Forged in the lonely, defiant walk away from what no longer serves. Do not mistake this path for suffering. It is sacrifice. The sacrifice of comfort on the altar of transformation. You will lose people. Let them go. They were never holding your hand. They were holding your leash. And when you are alone, truly alone, you will finally hear the voice that was drowned out by the crowd. It is not gentle. It does not comfort. It summons. It does not say, "You are loved." It says, You are capable now, prove it. That voice is your demon, your inner god, your future roaring back through time demanding to be born. Do not ignore it again. For the next time you deny it, it may not return. It will leave you to your comforts, to your screens, to your 1,000 small distractions. And there you will rot, smiling, scrolling, successful, but not alive. You were not made for survival. You were made for sovereignty. So rise. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Rise now while you still have something left to burn. Let mediocrity witness your resurrection. Let the world see what happens when a man stops apologizing for his fire. Let them tremble. For what rises from this crucible will not be a citizen, a follower. A product it will be a force, a will unbent, a soul untamed, a creature no longer asking for permission to exist, a God remembering himself. They taught you to kneel before the many, to blur your fire into the fog of consensus, to seek approval like a beggar, seeks coin-starved, trembling, grateful for crumbs. But you were not born to be a statistic. You were born to be an omen. The herd moves in unison because they fear the silence of their own steps. They cover their eyes with banners, their hearts with hashtags, their souls with slogans. Each one chants the same sacred phrase, "At least I belong." Belong? To what? To whom? To a swarm of mirrors, all reflecting the same frightened face. This is not belonging. This is spiritual suffocation. To belong to the herd is to vanish, to be digested by sameness. The herd has no face, it has a mask. No voice, only an echo. It will lift you high, only to pull you down the moment you become real. The herd loves you only when you are not yourself. Remember this. Tattoo it in your mind with lightning. Every age has its priests. Ours wear lab coats, media badges, and moral platitudes. They don't call it obedience, they call it virtue. They don't call it submission, they call it consensus. They don't call it fear, they call it kindness. But it is the same ancient cowardice, dressed in digital robes and blue light halos. And so, they crucify the individual anew every day. Every prophet who dared to speak outside the approved script was first laughed at, then erased, then turned into a brand. The world eats its rebels and sells their bones as inspiration. Do not be honored. Be untouchable. Divine individuality begins the moment you stop asking to be seen and start daring to see the world as it is, trembling beneath its own illusion, desperate to believe in its own mask. See yourself not as a role, but as a rupture. Not a character in their story, but a story that devours their characters. You must betray your tribe to become a god. This betrayal is holy. This exile necessary. No one becomes real without first becoming unwelcome. The cost of becoming is always belonging. But what you lose in warmth, you gain in flame. And flame is the only language the gods understand. Ask yourself, have you ever made a choice that did not serve your image? Have you ever acted without editing, spoken without calculation, loved without armor? Or have you been posing your whole life, a mannequin draped in identity, moving only when prodded by approval? You fear rejection, but what you should fear is recognition. That moment when someone truly sees your soul and says, "This one is dangerous. This one cannot be managed." That is the mark of the sovereign, the mark of the becoming one. Do not shrink to survive. Expand to threaten. The world says, be inclusive. I say, be indivisible. Be the monolith they cannot move, the volcano they cannot map. Do not dilute your essence to fit their comfort. Let your presence be a confrontation. Let your words be a heresy. Let your gaze unravel their pretenses. The individual is not a product of evolution. He is its interruption. He is what happens when the will rebels against its own design. When instinct says, survive, but the spirit says, transcend. The individual is the one who chooses meaning over safety, Creation over belonging. Sovereignty over salvation. And he is hated for it. Of course he is. He must be, because his existence mocks their obedience. His laughter shakes their temples. His freedom is a mirror they cannot endure. He is not merely alone. He is the threat of aloneness. He is the whisper that says, "You do not need them. You never did." And when the night comes, and it will, when the stars vanish and the world offers you applause for your silence, remember, you are not here to be understood. You are here to ignite, to divide oceans with your presence, to split mountains with your doubt, to tear veils with your voice. And in that final test, when you are offered comfort in exchange for your flame, remember this: it is better to burn alone than to freeze among the faithful. You are not a believer. You are a builder of new heavens, a sower of thunder, a child of the coming age. Let the herds have their harmony. You are the dissonance of divinity. You are the necessary fracture, the blessed blasphemy, the next beginning. So you still seek comfort? Then you have not yet begun. Comfort is the enemy that wears your own smile. It does not chain you in iron, it wraps you in velvet. It whispers lullabies as it steals your wildness. And you weary seeker have mistaken its warmth for love. But the womb too was warm, and you were meant to leave it screaming. What is comfort but the slow death of the possible? Every time you choose ease, you betray the future that aches to be born through you. Every time you pick the familiar, you crucify the miraculous. The soft couch, the predictable screen, the agreeable opinion. Each one is a nail. And the man who chooses nothingness with a full stomach still dies starved. Do you not feel it? The ache beneath the applause. The hidden nausea after your 100th scroll, your 1000th nod, your 1,000,000th concession. That is your inner titan vomiting mediocrity. That is your unlived life raging in its cage. That is the part of you that knows. You were meant to break something. You say you are at peace? Then why do your dreams howl? Because deep down you know the gods are not at peace. Creation is never calm. The stars are not gentle. There is nothing in nature that became great by resting. Even the mountains rose by collision. Even the gods bled to earn their names. Why should you be exempt? Comfort is not a virtue. It is the sedative of the spirit. The greatest lie ever sold was this: that life is about feeling good. No life is about becoming great. And greatness does not feel good. It feels like stretching the bones of your being until they crack into new shapes. It feels like standing in the storm and screaming, "More!" You will not find yourself in stillness. You will find yourself in struggle. The soul is a forge. Every fear you refuse to face is a blade left dull. Every truth you turn from is a fire left cold. You want clarity? Then walk into confusion. You want power? Then kneel before your weakness and drag it screaming into the light. There is no awakening without agony. The phoenix does not rise politely. It erupts. The butterfly does not emerge peacefully. It tears itself free. And the man who dares to become must rip through the soft skin of who he was with claws of will, teeth of fire, and a heart that no longer fears the dark. You want transformation? Then suffer your illusions. Suffer the death of your comfort. Let it rot. Let it stink. Let it collapse in the corner of your soul until there is nothing left but desire. Not for safety, but for sovereignty. Not to be held, but to hold the thunder of your own becoming. The real you will not arrive gently. He will not ask permission. He will not seek affirmation. He will arrive barefoot, bloodied, laughing with lightning in his lungs and ashes on his tongue. He will not be welcome at your current table. That is how you'll know it's him. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be consecrated by the fire of your own potential. You are here to suffer your limits until they scream. You are here to spit into the abyss and say, Not yet. You are here to haunt the world with what you almost were and then become it. Let the cowards have their cushions. You build your throne out of trials. Let the soft seek safety. You wrestle angels in the dust. Let the many dance around the fire. Yub, the flame. There is a deeper war now. Not with nations, not with rulers, not with gods made obsolete by time, but with the mirror. Yes, that cursed reflection, that polished mockery of your potential, that glass that returns your image but not your truth. You have made peace with that reflection for far too long. You have mistaken familiarity for fidelity. But the mirror does not love you. It lies. It shows you your face, but not your fire. Look closer behind the eyes, behind the practiced smirk, the agreeable posture, the curated persona. There is something twitching, something old and wild, the echo of a hunter, the scream of a forgotten king, the tear of a star being born, and you have buried it beneath job titles and polite smiles. But it will not die. It waits. It waits through every compromise. It watches as you nod to the opinions of lesser men. It seethes as you silence yourself for harmony's sake. It suffers, yes. Suffers each time you bow when you were meant to break. That wildness is not evil. It is evolution. It is the ghost of your greatness rattling its cage. Why are you afraid to be seen in your full flame? Because you were taught to fear your own height. You were told to make yourself smaller. Don't be too much, too loud, too bold, too dangerous. But the volcano does not apologize to the village. The lion does not whisper when it roars. The thunder does not explain itself to the field it splits open. You were not made to be digestible. The world demands that you round off your edges until you fit their mold. But I tell you, sharpen those edges. Turn your soul into a blade. Be the rupture in their narrative, the deviation in their script. Be the unexpected, the uninvited, the unbowed. And yes, you will be punished. The mediocre do not forgive the magnificent. They will brand your solitude as arrogance, your hunger as toxicity, your voice as threat. But that is their confession, not your crime. They do not hate you. They hate the part of themselves that recognizes you and weeps. They see in you what they could have been. Let them. Let your existence be their reckoning. Let your presence disturb their certainty. Let your fire force them to choose. Wake up or be consumed. That is your gift, not comfort, not agreement, but friction. You are the stone in their shoe, the riddle they cannot solve, the storm they cannot schedule. And now comes the final heresy. What if you do not need fixing? What if your chaos is not a flaw, but a force? What if your despair is the soil of divinity? Your rage, the rite of passage? What if the parts of you they called broken are the very roots of your becoming? Then every tear was sacred. Every mistake, a step into sovereignty. Every failure, a crucifixion of the false self. And every fall, a rehearsal for flight. Yes, flight. Not from the world, but into it. With wings made not of feathers but fire. With eyes that no longer seek permission, only prey. With a laugh that terrifies the timid because it comes from someone who has suffered the abyss and built a throne within it. So I ask you, are you ready to betray who you were? Not gently, not symbolically, ruthlessly. Kill the obedient version of yourself. Mourn him if you must, but do not resurrect him. He was your cage, not your companion. Bury him beneath the altar of your new name, and let that name be thunder. Let it be legend. Let it be a wound in the fabric of fate that cannot be closed. The future does not belong to the careful. It belongs to the possessed, to those who stare into the void and grin, to those who dance on the ruins of their former selves and scream, "This is my genesis," to those who do not merely survive the fire but become it. You are not late. You are not lost. You are becoming. And the gods, long silent, have begun to watch again. And now, the hour of culmination, the stillness after the scream, the mountain peak where breath becomes stormlight, where you, scorched and sovereign, stand alone among the shattered altars of your old self. Look around, there is no applause, no witness, no choir to sanctify your ascent. And yet, for the first time, you do not need them. You are the witness. You are the altar. You are the flame that no longer flickers at the wind of opinion. This, finally, is peace, no, the peace of sedation, but of sovereignty. The peace that comes after war, when the smoke clears and the battlefield is silent because there are no enemies left within. You did not overcome the world. You overcame your need for it. You do not belong because you are. And that is enough. Enough to move, to speak, to carve the sky with your own symbols, to tear time like parchment and write yourself into myth. You no longer chase destiny like a shadow. You drag it by the throat. And the soul, your long exiled soul, returns, not as guest, but as king. It enters not in robes, but with blood on its hands. The blood of lies slain, of comforts crucified, of the 1,000 masks burned away in the furnace of your becoming. It speaks now in a language you had forgotten, a language older than fear, older than words. A roar, a silence, a rhythm. And in that rhythm, you hear the truth. You were never broken. You were buried. Beneath politeness. Beneath permission. Beneath the weight of a world that feared your magnitude. And now, nothing is left to fear. Not the void, it is your echo. Not death, it is your punctuation. Not solitude, it is your sanctuary. Not failure, it is your forge. The question is not, what will you do? The question is, what will you destroy to do it? You are no longer afraid to be seen. You are afraid of ever being unseen again. You are no longer waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are no longer praying for power. You are the answered prayer. So go, not back into the world, but through it. As fire moves through a forest, as prophecy moves through a generation, as lightning moves through the bones of men who have forgotten the gods. Leave no part of yourself untouched by this reckoning. Leave no doubt unshattered, no mask unburned, no name unquestioned. Let them say you changed. Let them say you lost your mind. Let them say you became dangerous. And smile, because it is true. The man who returns from this crucible is not the one who entered. He does not fit. He does not kneel. He does not apologize. He builds new temples where none dared build. He speaks in storms. He lives not as a reflection, but as a revelation. And when the night comes again, as it always does, when the world tries to reclaim you, to tame you, to soothe you back into slumber, you will remember this fire, this fall, this flight, and you will say, I did not come to be understood. I came to unmake the world and begin again.